Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are heading to the coast. Specifically, we're zooming in on a very specific slice of geography that occupies this massive space in the imagination, Anna Maria Island, and the broader Manatee County area.
hmm
And if you're picturing that sleepy old Florida vibe, a burger at a shack, a drawbridge opening slowly in the sun, that sort of charming chaos, well, you might need to adjust your mental map.
You really might.
Because looking at the stack of documents we have today, as of January 2026, things are changing drastically.
They certainly are. We're looking at a community in a very specific, I'd say very aggressive moment of transition. It's recovering from that double whammy of hurricanes Helene and Milton back in 2024.
Right.
It's staring down the barrel of massive multi-year infrastructure projects and the actual economics of, who gets to exist on the island. It's shifting right under our feet.
Exactly. And to get a clear picture of this, we aren't just looking at travel brochures. We've got a really interesting stack of documents. We're pulling from the Anna Maria Island Real Estate Forecast for 2026, some actual city commission meeting minutes from mid-2025.
And those are surprisingly spicy.
They really are. And then local police logs from just a few weeks ago and a very extensive and frankly pretty sobering resource guide called the Family Emergency Treatment Center Directory.
And that last one is so crucial because often when we talk about paradise, we ignore the engine room. We ignore the support systems required to keep it running.
Yeah.
So the mission for this deep dive is to explore how a small island navigates this rapid change, from the price of a beach house to like the rules about digging holes in the sand and what happens when paradise gets a little too expensive for the people who actually work there.
So let's unpack this. I want to start with the money, the real estate market. For years, the headline on Anna Maria Island was simple: panic buy. Everything is going up. Get in now or regret it forever. But according to this 2026 forecast, the party might be over. Or at least the music has changed.
It has. The forecast explicitly states that the post-pandemic frenzy is over. We're entering a period of stability. But we have to define what stability means in 2026, because it's not stagnation.
Okay.
The most fascinating shift here is in who is actually signing the checks.
They call it the lifestyle buyer, which, to be honest, it sounds like marketing jargon.
It does.
Like something you'd see on a brochure with a couple holding wine glasses, but it actually means something specific economically, right?
It does. I mean, think back to 2021 or 2022. The market was dominated by flippers and speculators. People buying properties sight unseen, hoping to do a quick renovation and resell 6 months later for a 30% profit.
Right, the quick flip.
The forecast says those people have mostly left the market. In 2026, the buyers are families, they're remote professionals, they want a permanent piece of paradise. They aren't trying to make a quick buck, they're trying to make a life.
So the speculation bubble has popped, or at least deflated. But here's where it gets really interesting, and honestly a little confusing. The prices. You'd think with stability, everything is just flat. But the report highlights this massive drop in one specific area. In November 2025, Bradenton Beach home prices were down 37.0% year over year.
Yeah.
37%. That is a crash, isn't it? If my stock portfolio dropped 37%, I'd be panicking.
It sounds like a crash, but you have to look at the context. While Bradenton Beach took a hit, the overall forecast predicts stability, or maybe a slight rise of about 2.2% for the region.
So what's happening there?
The drop in Bradenton Beach isn't because the land has become worthless. It's a reflection of the condition of the inventory that was sold.
Okay, that's the turnkey premium they talk about.
Exactly. Buyers in 2026 are demanding move-in ready homes. And this isn't just about being lazy and not wanting to paint. It's purely economic. With insurance costs skyrocketing post-hurricane and renovation expenses through the roof, not to mention labor shortages, a fixer-upper is now a huge financial liability.
It's a trap.
It is. If a house needs a new roof or windows to meet the new, stricter codes, buyers are just walking away.
Yeah.
They can't get the insurance or they can't budget for the crazy renovation costs.
So that 37% drop?
It likely represents the market just discarding the damaged or outdated inventory. Meanwhile, the turnkey homes, the ones where the work is all done, are commanding a massive premium.
So the charm of an old beach cottage that needs some love is actually a financial dead end now.
It is.
That really changes the aesthetic of the island over time, doesn't it?
It forces modernization. And if you look at the rental market, the sweet spot has moved too. It used to be that any little condo would print money.
Not anymore.
Now the highest return on investment is found in large homes, We're talking 6 to 8 guests, or more specifically near Pine Avenue or the beaches.
And there was one specific amenity they mentioned that's become critical.
The private pool. It's become non-negotiable. The data suggests that without a pool, you just can't compete for those high-dollar family rentals anymore.
So the market is hardening. It's becoming more professionalized, more expensive, and less forgiving of imperfection.
Yeah.
Speaking of hardening, let's talk about the physical island. Concrete and steel.
Yeah.
Because if you drive out there in 2026, you aren't just seeing palm trees, you are seeing cranes.
A tremendous amount of construction. And the centerpiece of the recovery is the city pier. Remember, this pier was heavily damaged by Hurricanes Helene and Milton in 2024. It's been a long road back.
The report mentions a $4.64 million contract with Tampa Bay Marine. Where are we on that?
As of late 2025, they were driving the pilings. But the big date for you to keep in mind is March 31st, 2026.
Okay, March 31st.
That is the deadline for the new walkway to be completed.
And once that opens, it's not just for fishing anymore. There's a new heavy hitter in town, the Manatee Belle.
Yes, the ferry. And this isn't some small pontoon. The Manatee Belle is a 100,000-pound, 96-passenger vessel.
Wow.
There's a lot of friction and discussion in the city minutes about installing a landing for it at the new pier. It represents a real shift in how people get to the island.
Water-based mass transit.
Pretty much.
Which brings us to the elephant in the room. Or rather, the construction nightmare in the room, the Cortez Bridge.
This is the disruption everyone has been dreading. The documents confirm that construction on the new bridge is set to start in summer 2026.
And this is the end of an era, right? The old drawbridge from 1956 is going away. No more waiting for the bridge to go up.
It is. It's being replaced by a 65-foot fixed-span bridge. It's a $143 million project. But for you, whether you live there or visit, the key number here is 1,200.
1,200.
1,200 days.
Yeah.
That is the estimated construction timeline.
Oh, wow.
That's roughly 3 years of heavy construction connecting the mainland to the island.
Oof. 3 years. That is a marathon. But I guess the trade-off is reliability.
That's the argument. You lose the drawbridge charm and the traffic jams that come with it. But you gain a reliable corridor for evacuation and emergency services.
Yeah.
And it's worth noting the environmental care being taken here. Before they dig, they have strictly regulated mitigation plans for Gulf sturgeon, manatees, and sea turtles. They can't just bulldoze the bay.
So we have a hardening real estate market, hardening infrastructure. But what about the rules? Because when I was reading through the city commission minutes, I found some ordinances that felt, well, a little micromanagey.
A little bit.
Like the new fun police had arrived.
There usually is a reason, though. You were referring to the No Holes on the Beach ordinance.
Ordinance 25945. It literally prohibits the possession of certain shovels and digging holes beyond a certain depth. I mean, come on. It's a beach. Kids dig holes.
It sounds funny and it's easy to mock. But if we connect this to the bigger picture of safety and the environment, it makes perfect sense. First, giant holes are death traps for nesting sea turtles.
Oh, okay.
They fall in and they can't get out.
Yeah.
And second, human safety.
How so?
Think about emergency response. If a lifeguard truck or a police ATV needs to drive down the beach at night to a rescue and they hit a 3-foot deep pit, that vehicle flips.
Right.
Or a jogger running at dusk breaks a leg. The beach is a public right-of-way, and those holes are genuine hazards.
Okay, I'll give you that one. No digging trenches. But what about the signs? There was a whole debate about window signage.
Ordinance 25944. This is a classic example of balancing commerce and safety. Business owners want to cover their windows with ads. It's cheap marketing. The city increased the allowance to 80% coverage, which is generous.
Right.
But they mandated a 6-inch vertical clear strip.
Why 6 inches?
Visibility. Police and emergency responders need to be able to look inside a business to see if a robbery or a medical emergency is happening. If the window is 100% vinyl wrap, it's a black box.
That makes total sense.
You can't assess the threat inside.
Okay, so there is one debate that seems to be tearing the room apart, and that is parking.
The eternal struggle of any coastal town.
We saw an article from The Islander regarding Holmes Beach. Commissioner Dan Diggins proposed paid beach parking, citing a study from way back in 2015. He sees dollar signs.
He sees revenue to offset the massive costs of maintaining the beach and the infrastructure we just talked about. But the pushback was swift.
From the mayor, Judy Titsworth, and Commissioner Carol Whitmore.
Exactly. And their argument wasn't really about the money. It was about the soul of the community. They want to keep beach access free for locals, specifically the service workers and longtime residents who have been priced out of living on the island.
Right. Their point was, if you can't afford to live here anymore because of the turnkey premium, the least the city can do is let you park for free to watch the sunset.
Exactly.
Hmm.
It represents that classic tension of revenue generation versus community accessibility. As the island becomes more exclusive, those small access points become emotionally charged battlegrounds.
And that leads us to the broader issue of safety. We've talked about safety for turtles, safety for police looking through windows, but what about safety for people in the water? Because 2025 wasn't just rough on the buildings, it was rough on people. We saw a tragedy at Bean Point in August 2025, a fatal drowning.
And looking at the reports, the city's reaction was swift. They didn't just say, be careful. The mayor implemented a temporary no-swim zone.
That's a drastic measure for a beach town.
It is. Eventually, that evolved into permanent signage. Warning, dangerous currents, swim at your own risk.
It changes the vibe, doesn't it? It goes from come play in the water, it's paradise, to nature is dangerous, proceed with caution.
It aligns with the theme we're seeing. The environment, both the weather and the ocean, is becoming more volatile, and the governance is becoming more restrictive to manage that risk.
And the police logs from late 2025 and early 2026 back that up. It's not just parking tickets.
No, it's not. The police archives show a series of serious DUI arrests over the holidays. A Sarasota woman arrested on Christmas Day, another incident involving erratic driving over the Cortez Bridge.
That bridge again.
Right. It reminds us that as population density increases and as the party aspect of tourism clashes with the residential aspect, public safety becomes a major resource drain.
So we've painted a picture of a place that is expensive, it's under construction, and it's heavily regulated. It sounds intense. But not everyone in Manatee County is worrying about their private pool or their window signage.
That is the most important part of this deep dive. We have to look at the other side of paradise. We have this document, the Family Emergency Treatment Center Resource Guide,
Yeah.
and it is pages and pages long.
It really grounds you. While we are talking about million-dollar turnkey homes, this guide is talking about where to get a meal if you're hungry.
Precisely. It highlights organizations like Turning Points. They operate the One Stop Center. It's a hub where people can access medical and dental clinics, mail services, which is huge if you don't have a fixed address, and clothing.
And it's not just for what we typically think of as homeless. There are specific sections for veterans.
Yes, the Operation Military Assistance Program and the Yellow Ribbon Program, these are designed for housing retention. That is a key phrase. It's about keeping veterans in their homes before they lose them.
And there's Project Heart. This one really stood out to me.
It's the one that hits hardest. Project Heart stands for Homeless Education Program. It helps students who are in transition, maybe living in a motel or a car or doubling up with relatives, get uniforms and school supplies.
It's a stark reminder that the person serving you coffee or cleaning that vacation rental with the heated pool might be relying on these networks just to keep their kids in school.
Absolutely. A healthy community requires this robust underlayer of support services, medical, legal, nutritional, to function, especially when the cost of living rises as sharply as we've seen. If you price out the workforce and you don't have these safety nets, you break the machine.
So what does this all mean? If we zoom out and look at Anna Maria Island in Manatee County in January 2026, what's the headline?
I think the word is hardening.
Harden.
Yes.
Yeah.
In every sense. We are seeing a hardening of the infrastructure with the new concrete pier and the massive fixed-span bridge. We're seeing a hardening of the market prices stabilizing, but at a high level where only the wealthy or turnkey buyers can play. And we are seeing a hardening of the rules. No holes, clear windows, paid parking debates, swim at your own risk.
It feels like the island is growing up, but maybe losing a bit of its innocence in the process.
That's the trade-off. Resilience requires regulation and investment. You can't have a fragile, laissez-faire beach town in a world of stronger hurricanes and higher insurance premiums. The old Florida charm was beautiful, but it was also vulnerable.
Yeah.
2026 is about reducing that vulnerability.
So for you listening, whether you are an investor looking at those rental maps or a resident watching the bridge construction from your window, what's the takeaway?
Patience and strategy. 2026 is going to be a year of noise, construction noise, political noise. If you are buying, be specific and look for those turnkey properties. Don't gamble on repairs. If you were living there, be patient with the bridge. Work 1,200 days is a long time.
And if you are visiting,
Respect the rules because they are being enforced.
and maybe, just maybe, don't dig a giant hole in the sand.
Please leave the industrial shovel at home.
I want to leave you with a thought to mull over. We talked about the lifestyle buyer replacing the vacationer and the fixed band bridge replacing the drawbridge. We are building a stronger, more reliable island. But is Anna Maria Island losing its old Florida spontaneity, that ability to just show up, park on the side of the road, and jump in the water? Are we trading charm for resilience? And is it even possible to have both in 2026?
That is the multi-million-dollar question.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll see you next time.
Take care.